Hello my beautiful people. So in this video we want to start the sewing process of our trouser. So before we start, I want to show you the gummed area. So let me turn the trouser in and show you the gummed area. So that notch area was gummed with gum stir in this form. Then I folded all through this way, and then I will start the fixing of the pocket. So this is called the pocketing, right? Bear in mind that this is for illustration purposes. So in the normal circumstances, I should have used black lining or black pocketing. Then place it in this form. So now we are stitching from that edge we ironed. So just stitch all along that line. Stitch all along that line. And then notch the lining as well. Raise it up and cut out the excesses just like this. Cut it out just in this form. So after this, you fold it inwards just as you have seen, and then you stitch all through this way again. You stitch down very well. Make sure that the stitching is as smooth as possible. Then cut your threads. Cut your threads. Cut your threads properly. And after the thread cutting, you fold this area in this form, and then you top stitch. Bear in mind, you have two ways to do that. You can weave it or you fold in this form as I have explained. So whichever one you didn't fit is the process you're going to go with. But whichever one that is okay by you, both of them are okay. Top stitch, cut your threads, and after which you now place your pocket facing. So pocket facing is the next thing to do here. So you bring the pocket facing this way and place at the wrong side of this. So now you fold the edge very well. Fold it very well all through this way. And make sure that the edges are properly folded. You can as well weave this edge if you have difficulties in weaving and folding. You can as well weave the edges, right? But then folding, I think, gives you a neater finishing than weaving, except you're using the same color of thread in weaving or a dark color of thread in weaving. So after that, you bend the lining in this form, and then you go through this process. Then you lock it, you sew it from that very point, curve you this very point, curve it all through to the very point, and then notch the lining and then trim out the excesses all through this way. You trim all through this way. Make sure that the trimming is not too close to the threaded area, and then you go and tuck it out to this very point, and then you top stitch. You top stitch. The top stitching must be done at the tip of your lining or your pocketing. Top stitch all around. Top stitch all around, and top stitch all through to the very end. So you cut out your threads, and then this is what you have. So the next you will do now is to stitch down the fabric with the lining in these points, and then you cut out your threads, making sure the threads, every edge is properly trimmed. Cut it out, trim out the excesses, and then you lock the up area of your pocket. Then measure out 2.5 inch. That's the inch we used in our notching of the pocket and the up area. you stitch that point, making sure it's lapping the very end, and then after which you now cut out the excess there. We cut out the excesses there. So after this, you're done with the first pocket. So we're going to now fix the lining of this very pocket. So the lining of the very pockets as well has been cut. So in a normal circumstances, this lining will be cut like 2 inches bigger than the panel of the lining of the shirt, right? Of the trouser. So once you have cut out that lining in that form, then you are meant to have a pleat on this lining. So this pleating is to enable the lining to sit in properly on the trouser panel without contracting the sides of the panel. So you stop stitch, make sure you pleat it at the midpoint. So here you have it in this form. You stitch all through to this very point. Stitch all through to the very point. So making sure you also, align it properly. So once you have aligned it properly this way, is what you have. So you also lock out the other side of the lining. So this will make you, after you have done this, the next thing you will do now will be to repeat the same process on the other pocket as well. Then before you go to the next stage of the trouser stitching. As you can see that the length of the lining is 19 to 20 inches from the waistline, right? You should not get to the knee points on your outfit. So after this, I'll go to the next one. I will come back to show you the result and then we'll proceed. All right, so now the next thing we are going to deal on here is how to fix the dart at the back part of the trouser. You must fix your dart before you fix your welt pocket at the back. So from the straight edge of from this area, you mark 5.5 inches or 5 inches. It all depends on your customer's size. So right there, you notch the midpoint and then give that notch in there. The two panels were placed together and I notched it. Now the reason for the notching is to make sure that the both panels are being, the dart is fixed at exact points of the back panel, right? And then we get to this stage where you mark the dart depth of 3.5 inches dart depth, and then the dart width will be half an inch from the machine foot, right? So right there, place it in this form, and then you start your sewing process. So once you have sewn this one, you also do the same thing on the other one as well, and then you go and gum before you start creating your welt pocket. You must gum with your paper stay or gum stay. So place the same thing you did there. You see how it's being placed. Don't allow this fabric to be equal. Remember that the back panel was raised. So in the dart fixing, the both panels at the sides should not be equal, right? So one should be a bit higher. So you don't see what I'm saying. Just this edge here should be a bit higher, just here, right? Fine. So now you get to this stage where you completed that. So I'll go and gum now. I'll come back to show you the results. All right, so here I am bringing my gum stay, cut in this form, slit it at the midpoint, and then I will bring the back panels of the trouser. I will now place it at the point where I have placed my darts. I will make sure that I have ironed out this area first before gumming, right? Make sure you iron properly before you gum. So you iron out all this area very well, and then make sure the ironing is properly done, and then you start gumming. Let me iron very well, and then before I start gumming, I will show you guys how to do that. So right there, you have ironed. Now gum at the midpoint of that dart, right? The size of this gum is 3 inches by 8. Just to give you that range of the pocket opening. So make sure you gum properly all through that way. Do the same thing on the other side, and then you go to the table, your machine, to start a welt pocket creation. Don't forget that this dart was done at the wrong side of the trouser bar. Don't do it at the front, so please. At the wrong side of the trouser is where you place your dart and gum this area. Then we'll go and do this, and then come back to do the men welt pocket. Let me do the second one. So the same process I just did, iron it out properly, and then gum it, then go to the table or the machine to start the pocket creation.